Assalamu alaikum, AFAers. Happy spring break. Hope it's going well, inshallah. I just wanted to pop in for a couple of minutes to remind you about something we've been kind of talking about and thinking about, and wanted to make sure that we have it on our mind because it's kind of important. And that thing is that, well, this is March. So we've been talking about how we've had a year in quarantine, right? And we talked about it in school. And we were talking about how do we remember this year, right? So, it's been a year since, well, let's see, since we were last together doing art in Miss Nadia's room, right? Or we were stretching outside on the blacktop for Mr. Yusuf's PE class. It's also been about a year since we recited Quran at our desks with our teachers. We figured out math problems up on the board in the classrooms. It's been a year since we played soccer on the side yard, right, at school. And also we were spelling all these interesting words during our school-wide spelling bee. It's also been about a year since we wrote poems that we would put up in the foyer and our poetry at school in the building. And also it's been about a year since we dissected something in class with Miss Batul in science. We also used to just kind of laugh at each other's jokes, right? In our classrooms, and we could hear each other, and we could kind of have a good time together, just talking and laughing. And also at the morning meeting or RAM time, we would kind of just talk to each other on the meeting rug in our classrooms. Some of you were hanging upside down on the monkey bars in the playground about a year ago, and some of you were digging in the dirt, right, and finding something interesting in the dirt. Right in the backyard of the school, and many of us had great parties, right? We would have some yummy things to eat in the parties that we had, and it's been about a year since we've had a whole big party with everybody at school. We used to also share in Pizza Mondays. Remember that? And we used to be really excited about seeing each other at drop off and at pick up in front of the building. And then, of course, we really miss having a year that we didn't get to pray next to each other in the musalla, right, at school. So it's been about a year since we haven't done all those things. But I did want to remind us that it's been a year so that we've actually done some pretty cool things as well. We figured out how to use a different part of our brain. Let me think. We also learned how to reach out to each other even though we were on screens. I saw some of you be so kind and be so loving to each other even though you were in your own homes, but you were talking to each other in classrooms during over screen time. We also figured out how to notice when somebody's not feeling well, right? When we're not in the same room. And we also noticed that our houses have become our sakina spaces, and that our houses can be somewhere that we can feel at peace with each other. And if we can't, then we figure out how to make it more peaceful. We also watch things changing right outside our window, right? Sometimes we might miss that if we're not at home, and we got to change. The seasons were changing all through the year, of course. And we also found out ways to use our imagination to solve some problems, or just to have some more fun, because we had a lot of time to be together or to be alone. So we used our imagination in ways that perhaps we hadn't used before. So from our screens, though, what I think is really interesting is all the things that we missed doing at school. A lot of things we actually did do, even though we were on screen. So I heard and I saw some of you write poetry, right? I saw a lot of you do your math really, really well on the screens. There were so many games that everybody played in their Google Meet classrooms. There were all kinds of science things happening, discoveries being made. There's all kinds of history being talked about. There were all kinds of jumping jacks I saw in PE, and sit-ups also, all on a screen. Of course, we had our great dress-up days. We had painting and art that everybody was doing while they were on the screen, which was pretty cool. And of course, helping each other too. I saw a lot of that happening, and we were helping the community. We did a lot of great activities for that, alhamdulillah. And of course, we did dhikr, and we got together, and we had musalla time every single day, pretty much, while we were in school. So alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. All of this we were able to do in this last year as well. So what do we want to do? Well, we want to bring all your stories about what you did for this whole year, right? Some of us did some pottery. I did some pottery. I made some pots while I was in pandemic and quarantine. I planted some seeds. I just remember showing you. This is my orange tree that's growing since I planted it, alhamdulillah. And so many of you did some really interesting things too, right? So we want to talk about that, but really we want to bring all these stories together. So I'm excited, and I'll send you some ideas as well in the email. But I'm excited to hear your stories from with your family. So we want to collect all these stories, because after this year, we're going to start forgetting things that happened this past year. All of us are. So we want to make sure we capture that. So inshallah, think about it with your family. There's some questions that I'm going to help you to think about, so you can bring your stories together. You can make a video. You can make pictures, of course. You can make a collage. You can also do a time capsule, which is pretty cool, which is put everything in a box that you think will represent this past year, like a mask maybe, or some sanitizer, a little bit of sanitizer, anything you can think of that for this year, for your whole family. So put it together, and then we're going to share this with everybody, inshallah, in school. And we're going to see what we can do to remember this past year, inshallah, 2020 and parts of 2021, because we're already here, inshallah. So I'm really excited about it. So we're going to remember, we're going to reflect, and we're going to reimagine things, inshallah. So look in the email, see what you can find as far as the questions, and then we'll talk some more when you come back. But this is a great thing to start while you're at spring break. All right, love you all. Assalamu alaikum.